Welcome, football fans, to another episode, the first episode of the 24-25 season of the WCC Grid Talk. As you know, my name is Matteo, alongside with my co-host, Joe. And we are excited to finally talk football with you guys again. The season is upon us with the first game tomorrow, Thursday, for the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Baltimore Ravens. And that should be an exciting game to kick off this season. We're really excited, and in this episode, we're going to be going over our predictions. But first off, Joe, how's it going? How's everything been?
It's going good, Mateo. It's going really good. Very excited for this upcoming NFL season. A lot to look forward to. I'm excited to talk about it again. It's been a while since we recorded an episode, but excited to jump back on here. Excited for the upcoming football season. Already had a couple of fantasy football drafts. Not very confident in my teams, but hopefully they could surprise me this upcoming season. But definitely excited for this upcoming season and definitely stoked to get back on here with you.
Yeah. I'm really excited for this, and it's going to be a fun season. I'm really looking forward to it. But let's go ahead, Joe. We're going to get this thing kicked off. And the first division that we're going to go with is the AFC East. So, Joe, with my predictions for the AFC East, I believe that fourth place, and I think everybody can go ahead and agree with this, but fourth place in that division's going to be New England, okay? It's going to be their first season without Bill Belichick, and I'm just not looking that they're going to do anything prosperous, not to mention they lost their running back, and I hate to do this to them, but I really do just see them going with a 4-13 season. But moving on, I've got the Buffalo Bills in the third place spot, which might be a big surprise to a lot of people, considering that they're still the New York Jets and the Miami Dolphins in this league. But I feel like the Jets are actually going to take that number 2 spot. Aaron Rodgers is going to be back. He's supposedly feeling great. I guess only time will tell with this. Hopefully he doesn't go down for a whole nother season, but I've got the Jets at number 2, 10-7, Buffalo Bills at 9-8, and to win out in this division, I've got the Miami Dolphins. I mean, they're just looking great. Tua just signed a huge contract. You've got Tyreek Hill, you've got a Kane in the back, and their defense is looking stellar as well. So that's my prediction right there for the AFC East. How about you?
Yeah, I have it a little bit different. I do have your bookends exactly right. I do have the Patriots finishing in last place in this division. Look, a few years removed from the Tom Brady Belichick duo that dominated this division for years is quite different. Now we're looking at a Patriots team that is just the bottom of the barrel in this entire league, and there's really not a lot to show for it. They were very high on Mac Jones. He has not performed up to the standard that they hoped that he would, and the Patriots are just in a very, very bad position. They're hoping to capitalize on some draft picks after having a terrible season this year. But yeah, definitely have the Patriots down in the bottom. I was looking over a lot of stuff coming into this episode, looking at a lot of experts' predictions, looking at a lot of experts' hopes for some of these teams that are in this division. And a lot of people are really high on the Jets. Of course, they got Aaron Rodgers, old Aaron Rodgers. They got Breece Hall. They got Garrett Wilson. I mean, it's pretty dynamic offense, but with Aaron Rodgers coming back off of a ruptured Achilles and really not much time in this offense, I don't see the Jets performing as well as everyone's saying that they're going to. And with that being said, the Bills, this is one of the few times over the last few years the Bills have not been predicted to win this division, or at least compete for this division. A lot of people have them sitting right there in that 3 spot that you said. I think that's going to actually suit the Bills well. It's going to take a little bit of pressure off them. It's going to allow them to go out there and just play their game. Look, they still have Josh Allen under center, and he's one of the top quarterbacks in this league. So my predictions for this league, I have, again, Dolphins are the clear-cut favorite in this league in my eyes. They have, again, Tua and the dynamic duo of Jaden Waddle and Tyreek Hill it's a powerhouse offense that it puts up points uh, week in and week out. So this is definitely the top team in this division. But I do have the Bills finishing second. And then I do have the Jets finishing third. I think the Jets are just going to jet, and they're going to end up, they're gonna end up disappointing their fans like they typically do. And again, I don't. Aaron Rodgers is old, man. He ain't the same quarterback that he was, and he's coming off of a pretty catastrophic injury, I don't think this Jets team is going to live up to the hype that everyone's given them. So for me, it's Dolphins 1, Bills 2, Jets 3, Patriots 4.
Okay. Well, now let's go ahead and let's move over to the AFC North. Okay. So you've got Baltimore, you've got Cincinnati, you've got Cleveland, and you've got Pittsburgh. Okay. And I'm seeing Pittsburgh with the number 4 spot in this division. Okay. And not by much. I mean, compared to who I'm predicting for number 1, it might seem a lot. But I'm predicting Pittsburgh's only going to go about 7-10 this season. There's just some missing pieces there. I mean, and they've got a high quality team, but Russell Wilson now being the quarterback for Pittsburgh, he didn't really shine like everybody had assumed that he was going to when he was with the Broncos. But maybe this is going to be something different for him. I mean, he does have Kyle Pitts to be able to throw the ball too. But that's my projection for right now. Cleveland, I've got in the number 3 spot. And, that's dropping them down from where they were last year. I mean, because they did make a playoff appearance. But I've got them at 9-8. And they've got a stellar defense, okay? Nobody can end up denying that. I think the big question here is going to be whether Deshaun Watson returning is going to actually benefit them or not. I'm leaning more towards the not, because it seemed as though they were able to kind of figure something out when Flacco was in there. But anyways, I've got them at 9-8. Second place, I've got Cincinnati, okay, at 11-6. Joe Burrow is going to be back in there after he suffered his injury. And we know that when Burrow's out there, Cincinnati plays some pretty darn good football. So, yeah, I could see Cincinnati at 11-6. Now, number 1, I think it's clear cut for this division. Baltimore. Baltimore's just looking excellent. I've got them at 12-5 to finish out the season. I mean, Lamar Jackson's looking great. He's got a lot of weapons. Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Nelson Aguilar, Mark Andrews, and then not to mention they also now have Derrick Henry in the backfield with them. So, I mean, yeah, right now Baltimore's looking like the clear-cut favorite. I wouldn't expect anything different there.
Yeah, I think that you're spot on with this division, Matteo. I think I definitely see the AFC North being probably one of the toughest divisions in football this year, along with the NFC North. But you're looking at 4 teams that on paper are built pretty well and that could all make a push for a playoff spot. When you look at Pittsburgh, I think they had a really weird offseason. They went out there and got 2 different quarterbacks, both Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, who can both be the starter on this team. I know that reports are saying that they're going to go with Russell Wilson as their starter, but at this point, I don't see. Yeah, I feel like either one of those guys under center is not going to be much better than the other one. They do have some weapons, they still have George Pickens out there. I do see the Steelers being the bottom of the barrel in this division. And then you go to the Browns. The Browns are built pretty solid. They they have Deshaun Watson. If he could stay healthy and if he could be the player that he used to be, that's a solid quarterback under center. You look at guys like Amari Cooper. I know Nick Chubb is going to be hurt for the first 4 weeks, which is going to really hurt them. But they definitely have a pretty solid team. They have a solid defense as well. And also they went out there and got Jerry Jeudy as well. They paid Jerry Jeudy pretty handsomely, and I really expect him to be a very big part of this offense going forward. They wouldn't have paid him as much as they did if they didn't have the intention of him being a huge part of this offense. So I think the Browns are built pretty well. It's just they have 2 monsters in this division in Cincinnati and Baltimore. And you know what? I really do think that Cincinnati is going to make a push for the championship or the championship of the AFC North. And the reason why I say that is because Cincinnati has the third weakest schedule this season out in the entire league. Baltimore has the what is this? Baltimore has the 23rd weakest schedule. So, based on the strength of the schedule, Baltimore is obviously going to have a tougher time to get the championship of the AFC North. You know, Bengals are built strong. They obviously have the duo in the combination of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. They have T. Higgins out there. Who knows who's going to be the starting backfield for Cincinnati? They got Chase Brown, and they also have Joe Mixon if Joe Mixon can stay healthy. Cincinnati is built strong, and I believe they're going to be able to compete with Baltimore and hang tough with them. But Baltimore is just a powerhouse. Lamar Jackson, they solidified that backfield by going out there and getting Derrick Henry. Like you said, they got weapons like Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews and stuff like that. Plus, they have a pretty solid defense as well. So I definitely see the Baltimore Ravens taking this division, with the Bengals finishing in a close second place.
Yep, agreed with you there. So you hit the nail right on the head. I mean, I've got no disagreements with all that you ended up saying. Baltimore is definitely going to be the powerhouse of this division. But yeah, Cincinnati's gonna be fighting. I actually didn't even see the stat right there that they have the third weakest schedule. So maybe that does shift up our predictions. But nonetheless, yeah, it's going to be some fun football to see them play. Okay, well,
100%.
Yeah, with that, let's move on over to the AFC West, okay? With the obvious dynasty, okay? The obvious dynasty in this division, the Kansas City Chiefs, okay? I'm going to start off with them, okay? Because, you know, they're just rock solid right now, okay? Back-to-back Super Bowl wins. I'm projecting them with a 12-5 season. They're going to go ahead and they're going to win out in this division and move on forward. But the second place team that I have, Los Angeles Chargers, okay? And I've got the Chargers in there because I feel that something is going to shift and change. There was something that needed to take place, okay? Because I actually do believe in Justin Herbert. I think Justin Herbert can actually be a solid QB in this division, but he needed something to kind of push him. And now with the addition of Jim Harbaugh as head coach, I think that's something that's gonna really push him forward. And I'm seeing. I mean, he's got the weapons that are there as well to be able to just throw to. He's got the backfield. They're gonna end up performing well, and so I'm picking them. They're gonna end up finishing out their season at 10-7. Okay. Now Denver. Okay. I've got Denver at 7-10. Okay. Third place in this division, with the Raiders I've got at 6-11. Okay, but let me go ahead and talk about Denver a little bit. Although I do have them at 7-10, I do got to throw out there, I feel like Bo Nix is going to be in talks for Rookie of the Year. Okay, I know everybody's talking right now Caleb Williams and everybody's talking Jaden Daniels, but Bo Nix really ended up performing well in the preseason, and I know that preseason doesn't necessarily mean anything when it comes time for the regular season, but if he does anything and outshines like he ended up doing in the preseason, he's really up for a Rookie of the Year. So Denver's going to look better, and I think this is a good stepping stone for them to continue forward. This isn't necessarily going to be their season, but look out for Denver come years from now, because with Bo Nix at the helm, something's going to end up taking place there. But yeah, then I've got the Las Vegas Raiders at 6-11. It's a shame. They really do have some solid players in there, including one ex Green Bay Packer, Devontae Adams. But I'm just not seeing anything. The real problem right now is just at QB. They need to try to figure that out. This isn't necessarily going to be their season, but I still think we're going to get some good football out of them.
Yeah, this division is a clear-cut no-brainer. This is obviously the Chiefs' division to lose. I don't think there's much competition in in this division for them. It, you know, it, the Chiefs aren't as strong as they have been in the past in my eyes. Um, you know, players getting older. I think Travis Kelsey, as good of a player as he has been, there's going to be a lot of distractions for him this upcoming season. Um, that I believe can definitely hinder his performance. Um, they brought in a couple guys like Hollywood Brown, but Hollywood Brown is already hurt for the start of the season, so I don't know when he's expected back. But outside of Kansas City, there's not a very formidable team in this division. Yeah, the Chargers went out there and got Jim Harbaugh to lead this team, but they lost a lot of weapons this offseason. You look at three guys that have been pivotal points in their offense the last few years that are all gone. Keenan Allen's gone, Mike Williams is gone, Austin Eckler. All three of these guys are all gone.
Mm-hmm.
And their backfield, their starting backfield. I mean, I guess it's going to be Gus Edwards. Like, I'm not a believer in Gus Edwards taking this team to the promised land. Justin Herbert, as he's had a ton of hype around him since coming into this league, and he really hasn't performed up to a top-notch quarterback in this league. Maybe 1 or 2 years, that's it. For the Chargers, for me, it's kind of like you need to prove something to me before I could go out there and put you anywhere close to what the Chiefs are. So I really don't think the Chiefs have any competition in this division. It's a clear-cut, no-brainer. Chiefs are taking this division with probably, I guess I'll say the Chargers are finishing second in this division because they have the second weakest schedule in the entire league. And then I'll put Oakland just because they do have some weapons out there like Devontae Adams. And then I'll put the Broncos out there in fourth place. But yeah, this is a no-brainer. Chiefs are winning this division.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't even think we need to go further with this division just because that's where we're at.
Yeah, we really don't.
Okay, so then let's go ahead, move on to the last division in the AFC South. Okay, so I've got Tennessee finishing off in fourth place in the division with 6-11. Okay, so nothing really spectacular out of them. Indianapolis, I've got them at third, 7-10 for the season. Jacksonville 8-9, and then Houston 10-7. The Texans, I mean, it's going to be a close division just based off of what I'm kind of projecting. With the Texans at 10-7, Jacksonville at 8-9, it's only going to be 2 games off right there in itself. But the Texans, the thing that everybody needs to note, not only CJ Stroud, okay, because obviously after CJ Stroud's amazing performance that he had last year, but everybody has to note that he has 3 solid weapons to be able to throw the ball to. He's got Tank Dell, Nico Collins, and the new addition of Stephon Diggs. He possibly has 3 separate receivers to be able to throw to that could possibly hit 1,000 yards this season each individually. So that's something to note, that he definitely has the weapons to be able to bring them to the promised land, and I can definitely see Houston winning out in this division.
Yeah. Hold on. I need to correct myself here. Joe Mixon is not on Cincinnati anymore. He is on Houston, and I said that he was on Cincinnati earlier.
Oh, yeah.
I totally forgot that Joe Mixon went to Houston. With that being said, I do see Houston being the number 1 team in this division. I actually see Houston being a dark horse competitor for a Super Bowl title this year. I think CJ Stroud takes a step forward. I think you're right. I think he's got a very dynamic receiving core, especially with Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs. This team is going to take a step forward, and Texans are one of my dark horses to win the Super Bowl this year. Coming in second place in this division, I'm going to take the Colts. I think Anthony Richardson kind of shocks the world a little bit, and shows that he is a top-notch quarterback, especially with wide receivers like Michael Pittman. I think they're going to be pretty solid this year. And I think that the Colts, again, pretty weak schedule. They have the 7th weakest schedule in the league. I see them finishing in the 2 spot. Number 3, I'm going to take Jaguars. I'm still waiting for Trevor Lawrence to take that step up into the next tier of quarterback. He has some weapons with Etienne, and he also has Christian Kirk, and then he also has Calvin Ridley as well on this team. But I don't see them competing for the top spot in this division. And then Titans, unfortunately, is coming up in the bottom of this division. So Texans all day for me. Again, look for them to make a big run in playoffs as well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, they really are, like you said, a dark horse in this division. They're going to be one of the top competitive teams, to really shock the world in itself. But I'm not even going to say shock the world. I mean, because they really outperformed themselves last year, and I think a lot of people know going into this season that they're going to be someone who to be reckoning with.
Yeah, and when I mean shock the world, I don't mean by means of like this is going to be a last place team that's going to come all the way back and win the Super Bowl. Not that's not what I mean. I mean shock the world because you look at the competition within the AFC. You look at Baltimore, you look at Kansas City, you look at the Bengals, you look at teams like the Browns that have a chance to get in. Like there's some strong teams in the AFC. You look at the Dolphins, the Bills, the Jets potentially. There's some strong teams in the AFC. And what I mean by shock the world is like I think they are, in my eyes, just as good as any of those teams and can make a run.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, that finishes off the AFC. So let's go ahead and let's move on over to the NFC. And we'll go ahead and we'll start off with the NFC East. Okay, so in the NFC East, we've got the New York Giants, the Washington Redskins, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Dallas Cowboys. To the Dallas Cowboys. But anyways, the New York Giants, I've got them finishing 4th in this division at 6-11. Okay, Washington Commanders, I've got them at 7-10. Philly, I actually have at 9-8, with meaning the Dallas Cowboys are going to be winning out this division at 10-7. So they're going to be squeaking by in this division. This would mean that the Cowboys would end up repeating and winning out in the division back-to-back years. Now, I don't know if you know this or not, Joe, but this would be the first time in this division that a team would actually win the division 2 back-to-back years in over 20 years. So that says a lot. I mean, obviously this division just really kind of goes back and forth with who's really looking forward. There's a lot of inconsistency, I guess you can end up saying, but yeah, I mean, I'm just seeing that the Eagles are going to be making up for it as far as the tail end of last season. I mean, they played so great in the first half of the season, and then something just ended up happening. They just weren't clicking, and so they're looking for some redemption this season. And I feel like they're going to end up making that up, and they're going to finish out this season at 9-8.
Yeah, this is definitely a two-headed monster for this division title between the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, I'm a big believer in strength of schedule, and when you look at strength of schedule, Philadelphia has the 8th weakest schedule in this entire league. Dallas has the what is this? Dallas has the 20th. Philadelphia has made some pretty significant additions this offseason, bringing in guys like Saquon Barkley, who's really going to solidify that backfield for them. They still have guys like A.J. Brown. They got Jalen Hurts, who's a stud. Dallas Goedert. They've got weapons. Their defense is solid. I don't see how Philadelphia loses this division. Dallas lost guys like Tony Pollard. That was a big component of their offense. To me, it goes Philadelphia, then it goes Dallas, and then it's a toss-up between the Giants and the Commanders for me. Let's say the Commanders, just because I think they'll take a step forward this season, and I don't think the subtractions of like Saquon Barkley for the Giants are going to do them very well. So let's, for me, go Philadelphia, Dallas, Washington, and then New York Giants.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go ahead. Let's move forward with what is probably the weakest division in the NFC South, in my opinion. I've got Carolina finishing off the season at 5-12. Okay, New Orleans, I've got them finishing off at 6-11. Tampa at 8-9, and then Atlanta at 10-7. I think Atlanta is going to end up winning out this division, and the only reason why I'm saying that is because they now have the addition of Kirk Cousins, and I think that's going to end up making a difference. Minus the fact that he is coming off a significant injury that he had with Minnesota, but it's still a great addition. Kirk Cousins can always end up doing something and creating some type of miracles, and that was one thing that they were looking for because Desmond Ridder just wasn't necessarily cutting it for them. And so I feel that's going to make the difference in their division, and Atlanta's going to win this one out.
Yeah, I think that Atlanta is kind of the clear-cut favorites for this division. Kirk Cousins going down there to Atlanta really solidifies a leadership role down there that they desperately needed. Bijan Robinson is a stud. He's just going to run for days with that offensive line in front of him. Drake London really took a step forward. He's going to be a solid weapon for Kirk Cousins. I definitely see Atlanta taking this division. The rest of the division between Carolina, New Orleans, and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay definitely has some weapons down there still with Chris Godwin. They got Mike Evans. They do. I think that Tampa Bay probably finishes second in this division, but New Orleans and Tampa Bay are gonna be kind of neck and neck in my eyes for that second and third spot. When you look at New Orleans, they they have Derek Carr right now under center. They still have Alvin Kamara there. You shouldn't sleep on New Orleans by any means. But with that being said, I don't think they're going to do much damage in this league. Their strength of schedule, they do have the sixth weakest schedule in the league. So Atlanta, also the problem with that is Atlanta has the weakest schedule in the entire league. So with that being said, I think Atlanta is going to run away with this division. Second and third place, toss it up between New Orleans and Tampa Bay, and then Bryce Young needs to step up if he wants to continue to keep his job there in Carolina. Definitely Carolina finishes in the bottom here.
Now let's go ahead and let's move on over to the NFC West. Okay, arguably one of the hardest divisions in this league. I'm not going to say the hardest division because that's going to be coming up, but you've got Arizona. Okay, I've got them at the number 4 position. Okay, Kyler Murray. I mean, he really does have what it takes to be a good QB, but something just is not clicking for the Cardinals and Kyler Murray. And I don't know. Hopefully they clean some stuff up, but I've got them finishing off this season at 7-10. Seattle I've got in the 3rd place position at 8-9. Then you've got the San Francisco 49ers. I've got them in the number 2 spot. This is a big change from last year, okay? Because that means that I've got the Rams at number 1, okay? Not only do I have the Rams at number 1, but I actually have the Rams winning this division and getting the number 1 overall seed with a 12-5 record. So the Rams are just looking like they've got a great team as long as Matthew Stafford stays healthy. Okay, he's got the weapons. He's got Cooper Kupp. He's got Puka Nacua. He's got Kyron Williams in the backfield. There's a lot of ingredients for success in LA with the Rams, but Stafford's health is really going to end up depending on that. So my projection is that they are going to do well with the number 1 overall seed, but this is pending that Stafford can stay healthy.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. well, a little spot on. I think you're off a little bit, but as far as the bottom two teams, definitely Seahawks and Cardinals. Flip flop them if you want. Cardinals can finish third, Seahawks can finish fourth. Um, both those teams definitely need to take some strides forward. I'm not a big believer in Geno Smith. Kyler Murray definitely needs to step up. Uh, Arizona's got some weapons though. James Conner's been a stud. Definitely is a powerhouse on the goal line. But when you're looking at this division, it's definitely going to be between the Rams and the 49ers. The problem with the Rams is there's a lot of ifs. There's a ton of ifs. If Stafford could stay healthy, if Cooper Cup is healthy and can return to form, if Puka Nakua can go even higher, take his play to the next tier after a stellar rookie season. Not to mention, there's already reports that Puka Nakua may be injured as well. There's a ton of ifs with this 49ers or with this Rams team. Not to mention, they lost their captain this offseason. Aaron Donald's gone. That was the heart and soul of this Rams team. Replacing a guy like that, let alone his presence out on the field, but his leadership is gone. That is a huge blow to the Rams. I don't, with all the weapons though, Kyron Williams, Puka Nakua, Cooper Cup, Stafford, with all these weapons, I just don't see them topping the 49ers in this division. The 49ers have proven it year in and year out over the last few years that they are the cream of the crop in this division. Brock Purdy, CMC, Brandon Ayuk, Debo Samuel. These are weapons, dynamic weapons, and with a solid defense as well. I really do not see the Rams getting past the 49ers in this division. I'm a huge 49er hater, and I hate seeing them succeed as much as they do, but they are a solid squad, and I really do see the 49ers taking this division one more time.
Yeah. Well, hey, call me a believer. My ifs are the believer portion in me, okay? So I'm believing that the Rams can actually perform well. All of these ifs will happen. They will occur. It's not going to happen. But hey, to each his own with it, okay? I'm with you in agreement when it comes to being a 49er hater, and there's a reason that I'm with you with being a 49er hater. You're looking at it right there. It's sad to say, but they just have our number. And with that being said, we are moving on to the final division, which I believe we both agree with this, but the NFC North being the toughest division in the entire league. Okay, so I'm going to start off down at the bottom here, okay? Minnesota, I've got them in the 4th place spot, okay, at 6-11. Okay, I don't have any faith in Sam Darnold being their starting quarterback. I just don't. I mean, granted, they did take a great weapon in who used to be our starting running back, dynamic running back in Aaron Jones. Still hurts to say that he's going to be a Viking, but nonetheless, they do still have that. But when you've got Sam Darnold behind there, I just don't know. And that goes with saying that they've got dynamic weapons, okay? One in arguably the number 1 wide receiver in the entire league, Justin Jefferson. You've got Jordan Addison. I mean, the weapons are there, but I just don't see Sam Darnold bringing them to the promised land. So I do have them in the 4th place position. Now, the Chicago Bears, I've got them in the 3rd place spot with an 8-9 record. Chicago Bears are going to be a force to reckon with this year, okay? Caleb Williams might finally be the weapon that the Chicago Bears have long looked for, okay? Justin Fields was not it. He just wasn't it, okay? And now it goes to prove that because he's sitting back up as a Steeler alongside another ex-quarterback that used to be a Bear, Trubisky. And they're all fighting for that starting position over Russell Wilson, but Wilson's most likely going to end up being the starter there. But nonetheless, yeah, the Chicago Bears are going to be a force to be reckoned with. With Caleb Williams, you've got the new addition of Rome Odunze. You've got DJ Moore, and then who's their running back again over in Chicago? David Montgomery. Yeah, Montgomery. And so yeah, Chicago's definitely going to take a step up this year, and nobody should take them lightly. Now, this is where I've got the controversy here, okay? Because you've got the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers. And as much as it hurts me to say, I've got the Green Bay Packers finishing off this season in the second place position at 11-6. Okay? We all know that the Green Bay Packers are looking to be a top-notch team this year. Okay? Jordan Love signing a massive contract. With the newly addition Josh Jacobs in the backfield, it hurts that AJ Dillon now is going to be out for the season, but we do have Marshawn Lloyd that we ended up picking up in the draft this year, so it could end up being a very solid second to Josh Jacobs. And then the amount of weapons as far as receiving, you've got Christian Watson, you've got Romeo Doubs, you've got Jaden Reed, you've got Dontavian Wicks. I mean, the numbers are there. And then not to mention tight ends between Luke Musgrave and Tyler Kraft. So the offense is there. And then when you look on the defensive side of things, I think the two names that definitely need to be thrown out there is the newly addition Xavier McKinney and Lucas Van Ness. And you know what? I'm throwing another name out there, Rashad Gary, because he had a spectacular season last year too. So Green Bay Packers are going to be up there, okay? But I've got the Detroit Lions winning out this division at 12-5. Okay, Jared Goff's looking great. You've got Amon-Ra St. Brown. You've got Jahmyr Gibbs in the backfield. Yeah, I mean, Detroit finished off the season strong last year, making an NFC conference championship appearance. And, you know, they almost had that game. They did almost have that game against the 49ers. But I guess you could say that we almost had that game against the 49ers as well. But nonetheless, yeah, this is going to be a really tough division, and it's going to be really fun to watch all of these teams play.
100%. This is the toughest division in football this year. NFC North, AFC North, bar none, toughest division right now this year in football. There's a couple things I want to mention. I really do think that Minnesota right now is being slept on a little too much. They have some weapons over there. I mean, like you said, Justin Jefferson is one of the top 2 or 3 wide receivers in this entire league, regardless who his quarterback is. They grabbed Aaron Jones. We know if Aaron Jones is healthy, he's a stud in the backfield. Sam Darnold, look, he's had his ups and downs in this league. We all know that. But I think they're being slept on a little bit too much. Do I see them finishing anywhere higher than 4th place in this division? No. But I do think they're being slept on a little bit, and they're not to be taken lightly. But Minnesota at 4. Here's where I'm drawing some really playing mind games with myself between Packers and Bears and Lions. Yes, Packers went out there and gave Jordan Love a gigantic contract, and they paid him well, and they see him as the future of this franchise. We all know, listeners, if you've heard mine and Mateo's podcast in the past, you know that I am not the biggest Jordan Love fan. I don't think that he has not, at the beginning of the season, he did not show me that he was an NFL quarterback. He improved throughout the season last year, showed me that he could be a top-notch quarterback. Obviously he got paid, but I'm still not necessarily a hurrah for Jordan Love. I think he could lead this team, but I don't think he's Aaron Rodgers in his prime. I don't think he's Brett Favre in his prime. He's a solid quarterback, but I think time will tell. Do they have a ton of weapons? Yeah, they do. Jaden Reed, like you said, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Dontavian Wicks, going out there and getting Josh Jacobs. They got weapons on offense. But I was reading reports that the Packers are the 3rd best team in this league, 4th best team in this league. I don't see that, man. I really don't. Are they going to compete for this division? Yeah, I do see that. But are they a Super Bowl contender? I don't know yet. I still think we need another year under our belts with this young core to be a Super Bowl contender. I have them finishing second in this division, like you said. As a Packer fan, I am scared of the Bears. I am extremely scared of the Bears. I think they have a ton of weapons. They got DJ Moore, like you said. They just acquired Keenan Allen, Montgomery in the backfield. Caleb Williams looks like he's the real deal. I mean, of course, he's going up against non-starters in the preseason, but he looks like he's the real deal out there. I'm very scared of this Chicago team. Do I see them overtaking the Packers this year? No. Maybe next year potentially. And I do see them having a third place finish. But again, I'm extremely scared of the Bears and the Lions. I don't think the Lions are as good as they were last year. I think they had a phenomenal year last year. Don't get me wrong. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a stud. There's no doubt about it. And the amount of volume that he's going to get out there with Jared Goff is going to make him one of the top wide receivers in this league. There's no doubt about that. But being in LA, seeing Jared Goff being drafted by the Rams, seeing what he did in his first few seasons, I still have that picture of Jared Goff in my head. I don't think he's going to go out there and compete for an MVP like some people say he's going to. I think he had a career year last year, and I really think he's going to come down to earth this year, and be the Jared Goff we all know and love. I see Detroit taking the win in this division, but not by a lot. I do see them coming back down to earth and being a lot more competitive this year than it was last year. So Lions, Packers competing for the top. Bears can. I really think those top three spots can be mix matched any way you want to. I truly do.
Yeah, it really is a toss up. I mean, I am putting it in this position because that's how I feel that it's going to be. But at the same time, it's not how I feel it could be because anything could end up happening. Those three teams are going to be the teams that I think are going to be enough. But it's like you said, Minnesota could shock the world. You know, we'll see what ends up happening with them because it's like you said, they've got the weapons that are out there. If Sam Darnold can perform well, knowing that he has these weapons, then this whole list could really change things up.
Let me also mention this about the Bears and them being a fear of mine. Bears also have the 5th weakest schedule this season. That being said, with the team that they have, watch out for the Bears to make a run at this division. Packers and Lions do not have it as easy as people think. This is a tough division.
Yep, agreed. Okay, well, that does it for us going through the NFC. Now, Joe, I want to just quickly go through what we believe our top 7 teams are going to be going into the playoffs, okay? So for the AFC, I have the Chiefs at 1, the Ravens at 2, the Dolphins at 3, Texans at 4, Bengals at 5, Chargers at 6, and the Jets squeak in at number 7.
So I'm not going to give their rankings or their seeds, but I'll do this. I'll give you my playoff teams. Like I said, I have the Chiefs as a lock to win that division. I have the Dolphins winning the AFC East. I have the Ravens winning the AFC North. And I have, what's the other division? Oh, I have the Texans winning the AFC South.
Correct.
My 3 wildcard teams out of the AFC, I have the Bengals. I think Bengals are going to be right there with the Ravens competing for that division. I think Bengals get in as a wildcard team. I think the Bills get in. I think the Bills get in as a wildcard team. They snuck in last year as a wildcard team. I think they get in once more as a wildcard team. And then my 7th seed. Oh man, it's between the Browns and the Jets, and let's just go with the Jets just because everyone's high on them, and because why not see Aaron Rodgers back in the playoffs one more time? So, yeah. Well, my wildcard teams are the Bengals, the Bills, and the Jets.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, let's move over to the AFC. Oh, sorry, excuse me, NFC. So we're gonna move over to the NFC. I already threw it out there. I think the Rams are going to end up winning this whole conference, so they're going to take the number 1. Lions at 2, Cowboys at 3, Falcons at 4, the 49ers at 5, Packers at 6, and then I see the Eagles squeaking in with the number 7 seed.
So for mine, like I said, I'll just go through the divisions. I have Eagles taking the NFC East. I have the Lions taking the NFC North. I have the Falcons in the South. And I have the 49ers in the West. My 3 wildcard teams. This one's actually a lot easier than the other one. I have the Rams. I have the Packers. And I have the Dallas Cowboys.
All right. Awesome. Well, there it is. We went ahead and we ended up listing it. Let's see how this season ends up playing out. And with that being said, that does it for this episode. Thank you all again for joining. We truly appreciate it. Had a good time, Joe. Glad to be in the mix of all of this.
For sure. Before we end this, we're doing our predictions. Do we want to do a bold pick for our Super Bowl matchup and winner?
Oof. Okay. If we want to go with that, Super Bowl matchup and winners here. Okay. So I don't see, although many people might think that I'm going to pick the Packers to make it to the Super Bowl this year, I don't have the Packers making it to the Super Bowl this year. I'm actually seeing the Lions making it to the conference championship game versus the Rams. And yeah, I think that the Rams are going to end up winning that game, unfortunately for the Lions. And Rams are going to end up going up against either Kansas City, I hate to say it again, or the Ravens. And in this situation, just because I don't want to see them at another Super Bowl, I'm going with the Ravens. So this is going to be a Ravens-Rams Super Bowl. And I'm going to say that the Ravens are going to win this one.
That's a solid choice. I was kind of leaning towards the Ravens as well, but because I don't want to just agree with you and make podcast boring, I will choose something else. So I will say, like I told you, my dark horse was the Texans to make a run in the AFC. So I think that the AFC Championship game is going to be between the Texans and the Dolphins.
Wow.
I think the Dolphins can make a run. I think the Texans can make a run. I think both of them have some young core players. I think that both have a young quarterback that is hungry. I'll have the Texans and the Dolphins making it to the AFC Championship. And I will say the Dolphins sneak by them and get to the Super Bowl.
Wow.
You know, Tua got paid. He's got less pressure to perform. Well, he's definitely got pressure to perform, but because he got paid, he's like, I think he takes a step forward. I think Dolphins get into the Super Bowl. And in the NFC, and these are completely bold. This is off the top of my dome right now.
Yeah.
And in the NFC, let's go with... Man, it's really hard for me to not put the 49ers in the NFC Championship. I'm going to go with the 49ers. And let's say, you know what? Let's be a little... let's show a little bit of fandom. Let's do the 49ers versus the Packers in the NFC Championship. And I hate to say it, but the 49ers still have our number and get to the Super Bowl.
Don't put that out there, Joe. What are you doing?
You know, maybe I'm trying to do a reverse psychology here, and put it out there so it doesn't happen. But let's say 49ers Packers NFC Championship with the 49ers getting the Super Bowl, and let's say the Dolphins win the Super Bowl this year.
Oh wow! Dolphins winning the Super Bowl. I don't even know if I've heard that sentence in our lifetime.
Look, that's a wild choice. I know it's a wild choice. And we're probably going to get a lot of flack for that from our viewers, but you know what? Let's go crazy.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? You should put that Vegas odd in right now, Joe. You might end up actually coming up pretty big. All right. Well, that does it for this episode. Thank you all again for joining. We truly appreciate it. You can find us on any social media that's listed right down here. Okay, there we go. We got the Facebook, we got the Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Of course, you're watching it with us right now. We truly appreciate it and thank each of you for joining us. And as always, have a good one.